Hello, Goopers. Hi, GoopSMP. It's me, JoeyWhack42. This is going to be a little video showing you how to set up the Figura lore display. And there's going to be 1, 2, 3 sections of it that you could see and hopefully see at like the bottom of the video that you could like scroll, like drag through. There are 3 sections. One of them is for if you have no Figura set up at all. That'll be like the newbie version. The next one will be if you have a Figura set up, but it doesn't have an action wheel defined. And the last one will be if you have a Figura already set up and it already has an action wheel defined. So if you don't know what any of that means, then you're probably option 1, but you can check if you have an action wheel defined by going into controls and looking up action wheel button. I have it set to Y, and if you hold down Y and there is a thing there, then that means it has an action wheel. But let me become like Riker real quick. But if it says action wheel has no active page, then that means you have no action wheel. Alright, so let's get started. So, let's start off with if you have no Figura made. This is going to be pretty easy. What you do is you just, in Minecraft, press escape, and click on this little triangle to open the Figura menu, and then click on create new avatar. From there, you're just going to want to name it whatever you want, so like name it like your character, and then you're going to want to click include a script. Okay? And then create. And that will open up this folder right here. It says avatar, avatar.png, and script.lua. That was the hard part, mostly. So, alongside this video, I've also sent this file, lore display 1.0-unzip me. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that, and you're just going to put that into that folder that was opened up, into the character folder or whatever you named it before. And then you're going to right-click on it and click Extract Here. Now, a few things will be extracted, but once it's extracted, you can delete that folder, or that .zip file, and you'll see that it added 4 things. It added configurable variables.txt, HUD.png, loredisplay.lua, and loredisplay HUD.bbmodel. The only thing that is important to you is configurable variable.txt. So let's open that up. And this opens up this confusing list of a bunch of things. Now, I get that I get that this can be a lot, but we'll go through it one by one, and it'll be easy, okay? So first, we want to double-click on script.lua to open it up. This is your auto-generated script file. And the first step you're going to want to do is put down the words require, open parentheses and close parentheses, and then in quotes, put down lore with no capitals, and then display with a capital D. Beautiful. That is, we're getting very, very close to being basically done. But since this is a new Figura, what you need to do is put down, you need to initialize something called an action wheel, which is this thing that we spoke about earlier. How do you initialize an action wheel? That's pretty easy. It takes 2 lines of code. That's easy, and I will give them to you right now here, and they'll probably be included in the description or in the Discord message that I send this with. Okay. We're close. We're close with this new Figura to have it working. What we have to do is we have to initialize an action wheel, which we can just do by putting in these 2 lines of code. mainPage equals action wheel, newPage, open parentheses, in quotations, mainPage, and then action wheel setPage, mainPage. What this does is this defines the main page, and then this sets the main page to be your default page. So it's there when you open it. And we're very close to being finished. There is just one more thing you have to do to make it start working. And that is you define this. Lore display action wheel name equals something. Where did I get this? I got this from the configurable variables.txt. It says it right here. This is a list of all the things that you could change with the lore display. And this is arguably the most important one. Without this, it won't work. So, in fact, I will show you what it is if this is improperly defined, or if you don't have an action wheel defined. If you don't have an action wheel defined, and you just have this, then when you try and select your character, nothing will happen. In fact, you'll get a message in chat saying no action wheel page. But this can be fixed by putting in this action wheel page thing. And then once you define your action wheel page, before the equal sign, you take this value. This could say like action wheel page, main page, first page. You just take that word, main page, copy it, and paste it in here. Lore display action wheel name is equal to main page. This is all you need. You need these 4 lines of code. And once you have these 4 lines of code, it will, and that will properly initialize your lore display. Boom, it appears. When I hold down the action wheel page, it's there. Excuse me? Sorry, I don't know what that was about. But now we have an action wheel. And when I say something in chat, it says GeoGraph42, and when I turn on the lore display, it changes my name to say name here. Now, this is a bit of a confusing part. This is the part that is universal between all of the sections. It's very simple. This configurable variable.txt shows you everything that you can configure. So, by changing the lore display name, so if I copy this line here and paste this here, I could change the name it says. So by default it says name here, but I could have it say, let's go with 𝚶𝚘𝚘𝚙𝚂𝚑. The name, so now when it says 𝚶𝚘𝚘𝚙𝚑, if I go in here and reload my Figura, if I say hello, it says nothing, but when I turn it on, it now says 𝚶𝚘𝚘𝚙𝚑. Awesome. Beautiful. You could do the same thing. You could change the color. You could change what these icons are by changing the on texture and off texture. You could change sounds that play when you turn it on and off. And here's something that I think is really cool. I've introduced something called the lore display HUD, which, as you can see, when I have the lore display on, it has a little icon in the top left to show you that it's on. You can completely disable this icon by defining this to be never, in all caps. You can have it be on always, like that, to show you that to show you when you have your lore display off. But by default, it is set to when on, which only shows you that little icon when it is turned on. I think that covers all the bases. You can customize. This gives you a little description. This .txt tells you all the things that you can customize with the lore display. So that is how you start from nothing and get a functioning lore display using my little lore display.lua I have made. Awesome. We are now going to move on to what you do if you already have a Figura made, but no action wheel is defined. Okay, I just realized that if you already have a Figura made, but no action wheel is defined, that is the exact same as the first option, except you just don't create the plus button. Instead, what you would do is you would just click the Open Avatar's Root folder button. It will open up this folder, and then you open up the folder of the Figura you want to add it to, and then repeat all the steps from there. So you'd extract the lore display 1.0, and you'd put this stuff in the script.lua. And if a script.lua doesn't exist, then just make one. You can create a text document and just call it script.lua and press enter. It'll say, if you change the file name extension, the file might become unstable. That's okay. And you could just change it like that and create a script file that way in a Figura if it doesn't already have one. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the slightly more complicated option of what to do if you already have a action wheel defined, but you want to add in this lore display. Hello. I obviously look different. This is a Figura I have that does not have an action wheel by default, but I gave it one. So this Figura has an action wheel, as you can see. It is an empty action wheel, but it's an action wheel nonetheless. If you have a Figura that has an action wheel but isn't empty, the steps will be the same. So, to do this, to add the lore display to this, we do exactly as we did before. We open the Figura menu, and we click Open Avatar's Root Folder. And you open up the folder of the Figura that you want to add the lore display to. Boom, this is that. Then you unzip this folder, this file, extract here, and boom, it's there. Now, in this avatar script, it already has defined an action wheel. The action wheel is named action wheel page, haha, right? So obviously first we have to do what we did before, which is require, in parentheses, lore display. And that initializes it. Now, this next part is, quite frankly, the same as it was before. We open up configurable variables, and we copy this section here. You don't need all this extra text. You don't need it. Where you define the action wheel that you're putting the lore display in. Now, as you could see, you would assume, oh, this is going to work. How awesome. But if I select this, oh, that's odd. It says no action wheel page. Well, that is because it is trying to put the lore display option in an action wheel page called mainPage, which doesn't exist. The name of the action wheel page is called action wheel page, haha. So you just copy this, the name of what you want, of what action wheel page you want the lore display to go into, and you paste it here. So now that this says action wheel, now this is going to try and put the lore display option into the action wheel page named action wheel page, haha. So now if I reload it, boom, the lore display is an option there, and it'll allow me to customize it as I did previously. See? Turn it on and off perfectly. Now, there is one very, very important thing to recognize here. Sometimes people have defined their action wheel like this. There will be a word called local in front of it. If your action wheel is defined as local, it will not work. So what you have to do is simply just delete the word local, and then it will begin working again. That is because lore display is its own file. And when something is defined as local, that means it is only used within its own file. So when you define an action wheel as an action wheel page as local, then the lore display script cannot access it, and so it won't be able to read it. So what you have to do is make it not local by just removing that word local, and it will work perfectly fine. And I think that is everything. It's very, very configurable. All the options are seen right here. You can change the name, you could change the color, you could change what the icon is when it's on, what the icon is when it's off. You could change the texture type. This is used if you want to define a block instead. For example, if you want the icon to be a flower when it's on, let's say I want the on texture to be a poppy. Well, a poppy is, according to Minecraft, a block. So I change item to block. And so now it will show up like that as a poppy. Next, we have the sounds. You could define, I gave you example sounds that you could set it to if you want to use them. The pitch of the sounds, and you could change the lore display HUD mode, as I went over before. And this is actually quite fascinating. Lore display state allows you to customize. Lore display state allows you to customize what it is by default. So if you want to, you could make it so when you first activate your Figura, it is automatically set to be in lore mode. Now, there is one last little thing you can customize. It's a little bit difficult to do and a little bit finicky, but the location of the HUD icon itself, which is this thing, this thing can be changed. You just have to edit the X and Y coordinates of the cube in lore display HUD.bb model, which is a fancy way of saying go back to the avatar folder and go into lore display HUD.bb model, open it in Blockbench, and click on this cube, and you could change its position. So right now this is at -22, -22, but if I set this to like -100 and like -40, then it will move further to the right and further down on my screen. So now if I reload my Figura and turn on my lore display, now it's somewhere else on my screen. I have made it so with for example, 𝚶𝚘𝚘𝚙𝚂𝙼, it displays in the middle of my hotbar. So when I'm in survival mode, it's like right above my experience. But you can have it be wherever you want. So I think that's everything. I hope you guys have a good time. If you have any troubles, I really hope you don't have any troubles, but if you do, you can ask for help in the help channel and stuff like that. And thank you for your time, and thank you for your patience, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Thank you.